Hello CAD cammers. For this tutorial we are going to create an angled block made out of cast iron, obtain the mass, and also create a drawing out of it. So this is what your angled block will look like. It is pretty easy to create. You first start out with just creating this piece here. It's kind of like a projected view of the right side, and then you just make the cut. So if I roll back my process here, you'll notice that this is just a rectangular block extruded from this piece here. And you extrude that out by 4 units. We're using inches, 4 inches. And then you draw on the front plane and provide the cut. And the cut is, you go from the edge, the 2 lower edges, and you go up, and then you just dimension this out to 2 inches, and you make it uniform. And yeah, and then you just cut in both directions, and you should have it. So I will go over how to do that, and so I'm actually just going to create a part studio, and I'll just go over it again. So first thing I'm going to do is create a sketch in the right plane, and from this right plane I'm going to start to create my block, and I'm just going to draw out by lines a rough guesstimate of all of this. And I'm going to make the origin sort of the lower left corner. So here, that's going to be about a 1/2 inch, and then that's going to be about 1 inch. It's going to be about a 1/2 inch. I don't have to be exact right now because I'm just going to come back and dimension it all appropriately. And that is about 1 inch. And this is going to come down about 1.5 inches. And this is going to be about a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Inch. Alright, so before I start dimensioning, I might want to just pull things out to where I know they need to be. And then now I'm going to dimension. So hit D for the dimension toggle. From here to here, it's going to be 2.5. This is going to be 1.5. This will also be 1.5. This is going to be 1 inch. This is going to be 1/2 inch. This is going to be 1/2 inch. This is also going to be 1/2 inch. And this is going to be 1/2 inch. Oops. And once my lines are all black, I know I have the sketch is fully defined. So I can stop dimensioning at that point. Now I am going to make a rectangle inside here. So that's just so I don't have to extrude this out and then make a rectangular cut. So I can just extrude out everything around that rectangle once I place it. I'm going to place the rectangle in here. The rectangle is 0.5 by 0.5. Now it is a 1/4 inch from the top, 0.25, and it is a 1/4 inch from the side, 0.25. So now I have everything that I need to work with in here. I'm going to extrude it, and since I was drawing in the right plane, I want to make sure my extrusion goes to the left. So swap that side to make sure that it's going to the left. You're extruding from the right to the left, and I'm going to extrude that 4 inches. So I have a 4-inch extrusion. Now I just need to make my angled cut, and I'm going to do that with a sketch on the front plane, which I can click up here. And I can get rid of the planes now that I don't really need them. Toggle, hit the P key to get rid of your planes, and that kind of cleans up the area a little bit. Now I'm just going to create those 2 triangles that I need to cut out. So I'm just going to do that, kind of following the area. And then I can create another one over here. And there's a few ways you could have done this. You could have mirrored it, or but this is easy enough. We're only creating 2 triangles. Now I'm going to dimension it. And so since this is 2 up top and 4 below, I know each side has to be 1, 1 and 1. And yeah, so they're lined up because they're locked on to the sides and the corner point. Now I am going to remove so I need to remove it in 2 directions. So through it and behind. So because this wasn't included in that extrusion. And for the condition, I'm going to put through all, check it off, and I have my angled block. So for this exercise, I'm going to put a material on, cast iron, check it off, and I can get my mass of my object, display mass. If this was cast iron, and the object was dimensioned out to be as such, you would have it would be 1.499 pounds. And that's all for the 3D modeling portion. I'm gonna make a quick sketch for you. So the sketch should contain everything that we need in order to make the part. So now I am going to create a drawing, and I'm going to create an A size, and it will be an inch. So ANSI A inch, that looks good. I'm just making sure that, yeah, that'll be in landscape. So that'll be fine. And we're going to be pulling from Part Studio 1. And the orientation starts at the front. So I too want to start from the front. And let's play around with the ratios a little bit. Let's see if I can, what if we did a 1-to-1? That might be a little too big with all the dimensions we want to get in there. But then again, this might be a little too small to view the part. So yeah, we'll do a 1-to-1. So the front goes down here, and then the top will go up here, and then my right will go over here. So that is, that's the block, and it looks a little weird on the top. Looks like a little bug or something, but keep in mind that these sides here angled, so you're actually seeing this opening is that hole right there, because you would be able to see that from the top view. This is, again, and then this portion here is all angled, so that's why it kind of looks funky. And then this is our view that we started with, right? The right view. Now, you can go ahead and put an isometric view in there, but I'm going to skip that for today because isometric views are not necessary. You need these 3 primary views in order to make a 3D object. So we're going to skip the isometric view because I don't want to clutter this space too much already. All right, so I'm going to start with the sort of overall dimensions. So this one is 2. This one is 4. And we can put this dimension in there as well. Which is 1 inch. So from here we have, again, these were all displayed here, and now I'm going to start identifying this shape here. So the overall height of my object is 2.5. The height of this portion is 1.5. This here is 0.5. And again, so now I don't need to dimension. So this is important to pay attention to because you don't want to clutter your space with too many dimensions. Also, you don't want to over-define an object when you're 3D modeling it. So when you have this length being 2.5 and you have three separate lengths over here, you don't need to identify that third length because this has to be this has to be 0.5, right? Because 1.5 plus 0.5 is 2. We know that the entire length is 2.5, so that has to be 0.5. So I don't need a dimension here. It's redundant and it's just going to busy the paper. So from here, I'm going to create a width here. And a dimension over here. Just like how the paper does it. Although I do want to move, I'm going to move this one down. I don't like when the dimension lines intersect your object. It kind of can create some confusion. So try to get your dimension lines off of the object and try not to have them overlap as much as you can. In this situation, we overlapped here, but sometimes you can't get away from it. It's better to have an overlapping dimension line than it is to have a dimension filling up your object space, just for cleanliness. Now, for this dimension, and oops. This dimension. And if the 0.25, you also don't want to have that 0.25 inside if it's going to be overlapping. So just bring it out here if it's overlapping. And then what I mean, the actual numbers were like, they looked messy in there. So do the same thing over here. Boom. Get this dimension here. And we do need this dimension here. So that portion looks pretty good. The 1.5 is good. The 2.5 is good. Got the 0.5s, and now we just need this length here so that we indeed know that these are the same. And that is all she wrote for those dimensions. So now we do not have to include hidden lines, but I think I'm just going to I'm going to have hidden lines up here because this top view isn't really necessary to have, but it's just something that somebody you can look at and maybe get a better understanding of what's going on. So I am also going to include the hidden lines. So show hidden lines, and that's just so that people can see that there is a channel that goes all the way through. You should be able to know that from here, from the right view. but just in case you don't, the top view, I'm not gonna include it in this one. It's already assumed, but I can if I want to. So it's easy to include it. Right click, show it, and there you go. You have the hidden lines in there, but it's not always necessary to busy your drawing with hidden lines either. So the last part is to type in the titles, type in your drawing number, and type in the material. So those will be different for whatever the requirements of the project were. Make sure you type those in correctly. And that's how you create the angled block. Good luck.